I will take myself to my mat now and we'll begin with our yoga practice. We're going to begin in melted heart pose. So taking your time to set yourself up on your mat. You will need a couple of blocks and a blanket, a bolster. Even if you just have a pillow, you can use for a bolster, which is I'm doing. And let's begin our yoga. Coming into melted heart pose, I'm going to support my knees with a blanket. I have a little bit of a sore knee. So I'm going to move my blocks to the side. I've got a little towel here in case I need a headrest. And we're going to keep the hips high, lower the hands, bring the head nice and wide down to the mat. And then bring the forehead down to the mat for our first yin pose of melting heart. So each pose we go through today, we will be doing for 3 to 4 minutes. And I will guide you out. So remembering our cues, we come into the shape. So this is our first shape. We will find stillness. And coming to our edge of this pose. So we don't want to feel pain, any sharp kind of shocks or anything that's kind of taking you way beyond the edge of comfort. So knowing if this does not work for you, you feel like you need support under your head, you can use a block, which allows the floor to come up a little closer. I'm pressing into the palms of the hands. If this is too much, you can allow the elbows to rest. We then come into stillness and a nice, quiet, meditative practice. Breathing into the backs of the lungs. You're going to feel this into the back of the shoulder blades, into the hips. And if this again is becoming too much, you could even rest your head on one arm and extend one arm out, especially if you're having any shoulder pain. And you could change to the other. We've got just 30 more seconds here. And you take time to come out of this pose. You're pressing down through the palms. Pressing myself up to hands and knees pose. Good. Take a moment to allow yourself to rest here in easy pose. Just feeling the shoulders, maybe rocking the shoulders a little bit here. And then we'll now come into child's pose. So this time, knees come wide, still have my blanket under my knees. And we will bring our forehead down this time. Again, you can use a bolster if you wish to be more restorative today. I've got a little blanket. I could come down and place my right or left ear on the bolster or pillow. I'm allowing my elbows to be bent. My palms are face down on the mat. My hips are sinking back towards my heels. And remember, this is our beginning. We're beginning to honor the body. So starting with the beginner's mind. If you don't wish to have the bolster, you simply bring the arms down, bring the thumbs to meet, and let the forehead come down. Begin sinking the heels, the buttocks towards the heels. Breathing into 360 degrees of the lungs. We come to stillness. And we continue to breathe with our own rhythmic breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Notice any sounds around you. The mind goes on a little adventure. Just know that this is completely okay, and bring yourself back by either coming from the thinking mind to remembering your breath, or you can visualize breathing into the area where we're working right now. We're having a nice opening through the hips, breathing into the back side of the lungs. And 30 more seconds here in child's pose. And as you do so, tapping into the Ajna chakra, the third eye of the forehead. Sending any thoughts that love and compassion. Slowly coming out, take a nice big inhale. And exhale. And let's come up, two hands and knees pose. So coming into hands and knees for some cat-cows or spinal flexion in our therapeutic yoga practice. You begin by taking a moment to check out how the arms are situated. We want to bring the inner elbows in towards each other. So I'm just doing a little gentle twist of the elbows to face each other. My daughter will call it the eye of the elbows. I'm going to stack the knees underneath the hips. The head begins with the crown of the head reaching towards the wall in front of you. And I'm going to inhale, arch the back, begin to gaze up. And as I exhale, I'm going to round, press through the palms, bring the chin towards heart. Inhale, arching. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, arching. Exhale, rounding. Good, so moving here, so freedom to move how you would like to move. Notice if the body wants to do some Suki circles, or one way and then the other way, being careful if you have any knee pain, that you're not rotating too much on that knee joint. We can come down to the elbows and do some cat-cows on our elbows. Just playing here for another minute of your time to play with your cat-cow. Ask the body what it needs. You can do some spinal flossing where the buttocks comes back towards the heels and then rounding up. Inhaling, arching, sit bones come back. And then rounding up again. This one always feels really good. Nice. From here, we're going to meet in dangle pose. So dangle pose is a little bit challenging, especially when we're holding for several minutes. You're going to take your blocks, stand them up on the tallest side. And then I'm going to come into a quick down dog. If you don't wish to come to down dog, you can just bring one knee forward and then stand up. And a nice down dog is a beautiful way to stretch out the arms and the legs. I'm going to tuck the toes and come up, letting the hips rise high. Just stretch out those hamstrings and those legs. Head hangs heavy. And then I'm going to look forward and just walk forward. Coming into dangle pose, I'm going to bring my feet nice and wide and allow the knees to bend. And I'm going to drop my hands down here, let the head come heavy. So rooting down through the feet. So take a notice of the feet. Are the knees, the toes coming wide? Let's draw them in so they're as wide as, or in line with the heels. Another option I like is having my heels on my blanket. Just gives me a little bit more cushion. I'm going to come here for 3 minutes. So I'll start my timer here. Remembering that there is always time to notice any discomfort. And finding a little bit of comfort in discomfort. I know that does not make a lot of sense, but this is a beautiful way to open up those hamstrings. You're also bringing a little bit of compression to the belly, which is a beautiful way to bring flush blood flow to the organs. We know that yoga helps on a cellular level. Close the eyes, let the shoulders relax. We kind of want to hold tension here, but we want to really ragdoll down. And breathe. If you need a wider stance, if you feel like it's too much compressing the belly, come wider. We all have different body shapes. You know, with menopause, I've noticed I have a little bit more in my belly area right now. So I can just love that part of me and make a little bit more room. Just take an inhale, press into the blocks, come into halfway lift, let those legs straighten. And we're going to come back down, but let's do another one. We'll drop down. And inhale up. Good. Exhaling and inhaling, just taking a moment to move here. Good, we're gonna drop down. So your hands could come down for this last minute, or they can stay where they are. You could even play around with resting your head on the block. We have to play around with it a little bit. This really roots into the Ajna chakra again. Maybe you don't need these blocks at all. Maybe you can completely dangle forward. Just go to your edge. Good. From here, come back into your halfway lift. Walk those feet in. Just take a moment to breathe here. We're going to remove those blocks and take yourself down to your hands and knees or into down dog. I think I'll stay here in down dog and walk up my feet, stretching those legs out. Remember, this is a beginning practice, so we're taking our time to move into these postures, and even though they seem very simple, they're doing a lot. We're getting into the fascia joints, the ligaments. Good, inhale. Exhale, lower the knees down. Good, come back to easy pose. So we'll go through one round of low flow, which I love to include in my yin and hatha blend. So we're going to move to the edge of our mat. I'm just going to remove my blanket. We're going to inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Slide those palms out. Forehead comes to me. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, lower the forehead. Inhale to hands and knees pose. And exhale to downward facing dog. Walk up the feet. Good. On your next inhale. And exhale, lower the knees down. Inhale, come all the way back to easy pose. And exhale, rise up. Inhale, arms come up. And exhale back to your heart center. Good. So this is just one round of our low flow. In next week's class, we will do several rounds, but I just wanted to bring that in. Now we're going to come into wide forward seated pose, so dragonfly pose. I've got my blanket to lift my hips up a little higher. This helps my pelvis come forward a little bit. I'm going to keep those feet quite active when I first come into this. And right now I'm experiencing a lot of tightness in my hamstrings due to a knee injury. So I'm not going to be going very deep. I'm going to use my blocks. I took this little beautiful shell and flower in front of me. And I'm going to use my blocks to help me come into this pose. Sometimes even just bringing the hands forward is going to get into that. Also, if you have a knee injury like I do, I like to prop a rolled up hand towel under the knee. Really helps keep that knee supported. We're going to come forward here. We will be holding this for 3 to 4 minutes. So noticing that the longer we hold this, the more the body will begin to accept it. And it does take time. So we're going to walk the hands forward. Notice if you can embrace this feeling of maybe tightness. And again, coming back to those cues. We come into the shape. We find stillness. I'm going to let the toes release here, let the feet relax. And I'm coming to a therapeutic edge. So therapeutic yoga edge is 50 to 60% effort level. And I'm going to stay here for a length of time. So if I find that as time goes on, I can go a little deeper, I can just bend into the arms. You can allow the chin and back to round here because we're getting into the hamstrings, not into the back body. And then maybe eventually my head wants to come down to rest. And as in yin, we come into that meditative, peaceful state. Just breathing into this shape, into the asana posture. Coming into relative stillness. Allowing the feet to relax, not holding tension in the shoulders, jaw, or neck. Listening to the sounds around you. You can deepen the breath if you feel like this is coming into an area that is causing a little bit of discomfort. Again, not sharp pain or electric pain. You feel a bit of a compression. Got one more minute here. About 25 more seconds. Keeping soft, soften with each exhale. And taking a nice big inhale, breathe in. Then exhale. Soften. Let's slowly rise up. Take a nice tall seat here and just begin to make a few circles. Maybe feel a little bit of achiness in the back body. We're going to move into our heart openers now. So opening the heart, opening the chest, help reduce the slouch asana. And you're going to use your blocks, or if you have a bolster, you can use that. I find the blocks work best. You can also use books. Sometimes that works, but if you can, invest in a couple of blocks. So bring those legs in. You sit up nice and tall here in Sukhasana. We're going to take this first block and place it this way. So what happens on your mat is they're going to be like this. And we're going to just place this one down lengthways. And then this one comes to support the head. Now, if you find this is hard on the back, you can lay your blanket over top. But I find that it's better if I just lay my blanket here for my head to rest. We can go deeper into supported fish pose next week, but for today, let's just stay nice and gentle into small fish instead of going to medium and eventually the larger part, which is pretty hard on the back. So coming here, I'm going to take myself, lowering myself down onto the blocks. And I'm going to want to feel this in between the shoulder blades. I'm going to shift. So if I touch my hand back, I should be able to touch the block. I'm going to lengthen out the legs and bring the arms nice and wide. So this will feel quite good on the back. I like using the foam blocks so they're a little bit gentler on the back. And we'll start the timer here. So I'm going to stay here for 4 minutes. So taking a moment here to really tap into breathing into opening that heart. Notice how it feels to open up through the chest. So much of our life, we are not doing this. We are taking time to round forward on our computers, on our cell phones. We take time to stay with the breath. So see if you can come into an inhale here for a count of 3 or 4, and exhaling for a count of 5 or 6, in through the nose and out through the nose. Option now, halfway through this pose, to bring the feet into reclined butterfly. Soles of the feet come together and knees open wide like a book. Allow those fingers to gently curve up towards the sky. Palms are open to receiving. Heart is open towards the sky. Maybe asking what your heart needs you to know right now. Less than a minute here in supported fish pose. Good. Let's inhale, those arms come up, touch the palms together. And exhale, let the arms come all the way back down to the earth. Good. Inhale, palms come up. Exhale, lower back down to the earth. One more time. Inhaling up. Exhale, lowering. Lengthen out the feet, just drawing those knees together. Lengthen them out. And then we're going to take our time to roll and groan over to one side. Remove the blocks. And come back down onto constructive rest pose. Let's just let the body settle here. So you can lift up into a baby bridge just to resettle the sacrum back down to the earth. Bring the right hand to belly, left hand to the heart. Notice how this feels to feel the whole back body resting. Now draw the knees into the chest. Just really rocking from side to side to release the back here. And then opening the toes. And scrunching the toes, activating the feet. Good, and from here you can rock and roll up or roll to your side. And we will come into our deepest back bend, which is starfish pose. And there are options here. You can use a rolled up blanket underneath. So this is going to be placed underneath the shoulder blades. So the shoulders should be able to rest on the mat. You could also use your blocks and then place the blanket over top, or you can use your bolster. So I'm going to come into it here with my blanket. I'm also going to take something to rest my head on. So just a small little tea towel that's rolled up, or hand towel. Digging into this, you're going to bring this into the base of the ribs. So I'm taking myself down, and I want to be able to bring my head down to the mat. I'm going to wiggle here. And this is quite a deep pose, but my shoulders are lifted off the ground, but I'm able to rest my hands. We're only going to stay here for about 2 minutes. So let's take our time to really settle in here. So if you find that this is too much, you can take a pillow behind the head. And that actually feels quite nice. So I'm going to leave that there for myself. Mermaid pose. I would keep the feet lengthened out. Allow the body to really just rest here. Coming into that stillness. And if you allow this opening through the throat chakra, it's very good for the thyroid. So again, learning to meet your body where it is. If this is too deep, you can still get the same effect with that rolled up blanket, especially these beautiful Mexican blankets that a lot of yoga studios have. They're a great tool. I would recommend getting 2 of them. taking your time here, nice breath in. Breathe out. We're again roll to our side, come out. We can lift up, remove the blocks from the back. We're going to come back down onto our backs into constructive breath. Let's take a moment to check in. Just reflect how you're feeling. Bring the blanket to the side. Again, bring the hands to the belly. We're going to take 10 breaths here. As you breathe in, you'll notice the belly rising. Ribs expand. Heart sinks back down towards the earth. And as you exhale, the heart floats upon your breath, the ribs soften, and the belly button goes back to kiss the spine. Eight more breaths here. Three more breaths. Good. Draw the knees in. We'll come into simple twist pose. So bring the arms wide, let those knees drop down to the right. To complete the twist, you're going to look over the left palm. And stay here for 10 breaths. Good. Inhale back to center. Draw those knees in. Take the feet down. So here, just press up a little bit to reset the spine. Draw the knees up. Arms come wide. Let those knees drop over to the left. Palms comes wide. You're looking over the right palm. Again, the palms are open to the sky. Fingertips are gently curling towards the sky. So simple supine twist pose. 10 breaths here. In through the nose and out through the nose. Good. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Draw those knees back up. We'll make our way into Shavasana. So take the feet down. Lift up again. You're going to take that blanket. Cover yourself up in a blanket. Or if you need to put on anything like your socks or a sweater. I like to cover myself up. Little pillow under the head. We'll be here for about 4 to 5 minutes. So take time to settle in. Lengthen out the legs. Get out all the wiggles. So wiggling the head from side to side. You can also put a rolled up blanket or pillow underneath the knees or bolster. Relax the forehead. Relax the jaw. Allow the tongue to come to rest just behind the teeth as it softens into the soft palate at the top of the mouth. Notice any beautiful space now between the ribs. The belly is soft. Hips are relaxed and open. Knees are supported and loved. And allow your feet just to flop to one side, just allowing the ankles to release. And you'll feel the whole back body resting upon this earth. And the front body releases into the back body. And just let yourself rest here, dear one. Your breath is natural. You practice this self-care, this self-love, honoring who you are. And slowly coming back from the spaciousness of Shavasana. As you lay there just for a moment, bring in that awareness of how amazing it feels just to slow down, move with intention, to feel from that sacred space of your heart. You can begin to make small movements now by rocking your shoulders, making the head and going from one side to side, wiggling the fingers and the toes. And coming into a full body stretch, you can stretch the arms out overhead. When you're ready, rolling to your right side, drawing those knees in towards your chest, into fetal pose, so the pose of new beginnings. As we leave that deep, restful place of Shavasana or corpse pose, we move into the pose of new beginnings. Take this moment now to say one thing you are grateful for. Bring in that practice of gratitude. When you're ready, pressing down through your palms, thanking Mother Earth as you go, leading with your heart. Meet me in seated and bring your hands into Anjali Mudra. Draw your chin down towards your heart. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Again, deep breath in. Hold at the top. And one more sip of air. And exhale through the mouth. As our heart, hands, and our minds are connected as one, we tap into these three sources: our heart, our mind, and our spirit. And we'll end this practice with one single Om. So inhaling. Draw your chin up. Bring your hands to your third eye. The divine light in me sees, honors, and cherishes the divine light in each and every one of you. With much gratitude from my heart to each of your hearts. Namaste. Namaste for this first winter yin blend class. I thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching the recording, please send me any messages through email if you have any questions. And I look forward to seeing you next week for our yoga practice. We will be doing a similar practice as it is therapeutic. And then we will add a few more hatha and yin asana practices or postures. Namaste, dear ones.